G'day reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Welcome to Gallery Aquatica TV. As someone who works in an aquarium store, I often get asked the question, what is your favourite fish? Well, for the first time in my life, I actually own my favourite fish and I have it in my display tank behind me. We're going to show you exactly what it is and everything it takes to look after this beautiful creature. So this is him. He's an emperor angelfish and he's in full adult colorations. You can see it's such a beautiful fish. And I want to talk a little bit about where he's come from, why I like him, and all the different aspects that are required to keep this fish successfully in your reef tank. So let's start off with exactly where this guy has come from. Regular viewers of Gallery Aquatica TV will have seen the tank Acro Dream Tank. It's a similar sized tank. It's a little bit taller, not quite as wide as this display tank. And this guy was originally introduced into Acro Dream Tank 2 years ago. When he went into Acro Dream Tank, he was in his full juvenile colorations. Now this is an Australian wild caught emperor angel. And he did really well in Acro Dream Tank, and as you can see, he's fully converted to his adult colorations. The juvenile colorations of emperor angelfish are blue with white circles, and often people purchase them for their tanks specifically because of the juvenile colorations. But personally, I like their adult colorations, and this guy is exactly what I like in the look of a fish. But anyway, Acro Dream Tank was closed down about 3 or 4 months ago. So we took all of the livestock out, all of the coral out, and most of the fish and corals were moved to other tanks. But there was one fish that I wanted to keep for myself, and that is the emperor angelfish. And he has settled in really nicely into this tank. There was a little bit of a teething issue. With any fish like this, which is somewhat territorial and it really enjoys their environment and gets to know all the caves and places, it can be a little bit of a stressful situation moving into a new tank. But as you can see, he's very comfortable in his tank now. And part of that is about the makeup of the tank in terms of the aquascape and the caves. So we'll have a look at that, as well as the other things that we do to ensure the health of this emperor angelfish. It's really important with a fish like an emperor angel that you feed a variety of foods, highly nutritious foods, preferably 2 or more times per day. Now, one of the foods that we really like to feed this guy are the Ocean Nutrition Prime Reef Flakes. And what I find interesting, he actually recognizes the packet, and you can see him get quite excited when we bring this over. And one of the things I really love about these fish is that they become real pets. They're really friendly and I want to say intelligent fish. And he'll often eat out of my hand. He's a little bit freaked out with the camera and the lights at the moment, but you can see how friendly he is. He's kind of missed out on the reef flakes. I didn't really put very much in, but we'll show you a couple of the other foods that he really likes. But certainly the prime reef flakes are one of his favorites. We started out with a lot of pellets and a lot of dry food. And I think also what I would say, apart from the prime reef flakes, the other thing which he particularly likes are the green seaweed. And I'll show you how we feed the green seaweed to this guy. So I start with 2 or 3 pieces and I fold it in half. And what I do is I actually cut little spaghetti sort of fettuccine size slits that allow the fish, and I'll fold that over, allow the fish to bite off bits easily. And now it goes in our clip, and watch how much he loves it. As you can see, we have a blue spotted rabbitfish and he gets right amongst it. That's why I've got to be careful when I am hand feeding this tank, because of course he does have slightly venomous dorsal spines, but they absolutely love this. And this is one of the best foods that you can feed them. It's good so that they can slowly feed on it over the next sort of 10 or 15 minutes. But of course, fish like the rabbitfish, but also the angelfish, do naturally consume a lot of algae. It is important that they've got vegetable matter in their diet. Oh, even the lawnmower blend is getting into it. You can see how much they love this, this green seaweed. We also feed a variety of frozen foods, and I like to feed the Nutris, brine and mysis pretty much to all of the reef tanks that I keep. It's good for a lot of the other fish, especially the smaller fish. The copperband butterfly and the cardinals really love the frozen brine and mysis. But I also offer things like clams on the half shell. That is something I put in specifically for the angelfish. He doesn't really like it as much as he likes the prime reef flakes, but it is highly nutritious for him, as well as marine green and marine dinner. That's also a particularly good combination because you've got the vegetable matter in the marine green. So finally, I want to talk about probably the most important aspect of a fish like this in a reef tank, and that is compatibility with fish, but more importantly, corals. First of all, compatibility with fish. Because of the size of the tank, I don't find that there's really too many fish that I have to worry about not getting along with the emperor angel. I guess the one group of fish that I wouldn't want to put more in of would be other large angels. I wouldn't put another Pomacanthus species, or I probably wouldn't even put dwarf angels in at this point. My intention was always to have quite a minimalistic tank with the fish. I prefer to create an aquascape with the corals and the rock, and the fish become a bit of a secondary aspect. And I always wanted to have one feature fish, and it's only since I've put the emperor angel in that I have actually had that feature fish in this tank. So compatibility with fish is not too much of a problem in this situation here, but compatibility with corals and inverts in the tank is something that I certainly worried about. Now, the fact that I knew the history of this fish, having lived in Acro Dream Tank with a wide variety of corals, and pretty much all of the corals that I've got in this tank here were in Acro Dream Tank, so I know that he's somewhat safe with the Montes, the Acros, the SBS, Chalice. He has been in with some LPS, the frog spawn, hammers, torches. So I wasn't too worried about the coral, but what I was most worried about was how well he was going to go with the next favorite thing I have in this tank, which is my large clam. And I also have a smaller clam here, which I also absolutely love. And these clams are definitely my favorite thing, apart from the emperor, in this tank. And so putting the emperor into this tank was a little bit of a risk. I was worried how he was going to go with clams, and I haven't seen him in a tank with clams before. I think Acro Dream Tank had clams years ago, probably before he was in, but certainly not when we shut it down a few months ago. But so far, we really haven't had too many dramas with this emperor angelfish in the tank. He hasn't gone for the clams that I've seen at all, and as you can see, they're still fully open. They're looking really good. He hasn't really touched any of the coral, apart from one of what I'll have to say was the most important corals in our tank. We have a fungia garden down here, which has always produced a heap of fungia for us, and it seems that he's been nipping at the fungias, and he's really stripped the tissue off them. And we just made the decision this morning that we're going to have to try taking him out, because it's really not working with him nipping at them all the time. But otherwise, I have to say the addition of this emperor angel, my favorite all-time fish, into my display tank at our Wynnum store has gone really, really well. And that's it for today's episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. Hopefully you've learned a little something about my all-time favorite fish, and you've enjoyed having a bit of an update on where we're at with the display tank at Gallery Aquatica Wynnum. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing. That's it for this week's episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. Don't forget to like and comment on all our videos and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned to Gallery Aquatica TV for more exciting episodes to come. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing!